Coming up on Falcon Weekly, recall alert. Hyundai is recalling some of its popular Sonata sedans. Find out why the Alabama-made cars may be unsafe to drive.
And Chi Omega is preparing for one of the most colorful events on campus. We'll have details about this year's color run coming up in a live interview.
Plus, water flows on the red planet. See NASA's surprising announcement about water on Mars.
And all aboard, find out why one man has made a train for dogs.
And UM's women's lacrosse team takes the field for some scrimmages. Find out how they did. Falcon Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to Falcon Weekly. I'm Matt Haskins.
And I'm Courtney Stroop. Thanks so much for joining us.
We start this week with news across Alabama. Hyundai is recalling almost 500,000 cars due to engine stalls, which can cause wrecks. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the recall could affect nearly every 2011 and 2012 Hyundai Sonata made at a plant in Montgomery, Alabama. Officials say metal debris may have ended up in the car's crankshafts, which can lead to engine failure. But the NHTSA says about 2% of recalled cars actually have the defect, and there are no reports that the problem caused crashes or injuries. Owners of 2011-2012 model year Hyundai Sonatas can contact any Hyundai dealer with questions about the recall.
A little boy had quite the trip to the Birmingham Zoo Thursday afternoon. 3-year-old Caleb Nichols was hospitalized after being bitten by a copperhead snake while walking with his grandmother on zoo grounds. Staff members captured the snake a short time after it bit the child. The zoo says the snake was wild and not part of their animal collection. Caleb has been released from the hospital and was now resting at home. A 200-year-old oak tree at the childhood home of Helen Keller in the Tuscumbia is no more. Officials say Keller climbed the tree called Ivy Green as a child, but over the years, carpenter bees and storms have damaged the tree, which was hollow and rotting. Officials decided to chop it down rather than see it fall in the next storm. People have offered to buy a piece of the wood or make furniture for her historic home, but right now it's uncertain where the wood will go. Today in election headlines, Donald Trump is rolling out his proposed tax plan. He says he plans to cut taxes for middle-income Americans as well as simplify the tax code.
Main points of Trump's tax plan include no business being taxed for more than 15%, no federal income tax for individuals earning less than $25,000 or couples earning less than $50,000, a cap of 25% on individual income taxes, and eliminating or reducing deductions and loopholes for high-income taxpayers. Trump says we won't be losing anything. Rather, we'll be balancing budgets and getting them where they should be.
We will run this country properly. There is so much money to be saved. We're reducing taxes, but at the same time, if I win, if I become president, we will be able to cut so much money and have a better country.
Trump says his proposed tax cuts would not add to the country's debt or deficit. A major announcement from NASA about water on Mars.
This tops our look at your news to go. NASA says the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has found that there is salty water continuously flowing on the planet's surface. NASA scientists have been aware of water's presence on the planet for years, but until now it was thought to mostly exist in the planet's poles and atmosphere. Researchers believe that it is the presence of salt in the water that prevents it from freezing in Mars' sub-zero temperatures.
Shell says it will end offshore drilling in Alaska for the foreseeable future. The announcement came early Monday. Shell says a key exploration well did not contain sufficient amounts of oil and gas. The end of the controversial project marks a victory for environmentalists who are concerned about the ecological damage that drilling could cause.
An investigation into the death of Freddie Gray while in Baltimore police custody reveals that Gray asked for medical help during his arrest. According to investigators who reviewed officers' statements, at least one officer warned that Gray needed medical care, but that officer, along with others, wondered if Gray was either faking injuries or being uncooperative. Authorities say Gray died from a spinal injury suffered while being transported in a Baltimore police van back in April. His death sparked riots in the city and protests nationwide. 6 Baltimore police officers are charged in Gray's death. All have pleaded not guilty. Pope Francis is back in Rome after wrapping up his whirlwind tour of Cuba and the United States.
Sunday, the Pope held an open-air mass in Philadelphia where he encouraged the people to remember to make small gestures of compassion to others. The Pope said make dinner for someone or giving them a hug can mean a lot to someone. The Pope also made history Sunday as the first Pope to visit a U.S. prison.
One day after meeting Pope Francis in Washington, D.C., House Speaker John Boehner announced he is resigning at the end of October. The GOP leader is not only stepping down from his post as the top Republican in the House, but from congressional seat. Boehner was elected to the U.S. Congress in 1990 as a representative from Ohio.
Controversial Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis is now a Republican. She says she switched political parties last week along with the rest of her family. Davis, who was elected a Democrat, has been widely supported by Christian conservatives for her staunch opposition of same-sex marriage. Davis was given a Cost of Discipleship Award at the 10th Annual Values Voters Summit in Washington last Friday.
Overseas, France is expanding its role in the fight against ISIS. The French government says it's carried out the country's first airstrikes against the extremist group in Syria. The airstrike targeted an ISIS training camp. France says the operation was coordinated with the U.S.-led coalition, but that it has decided which target to hit.
Now to Seattle, where a 5th person has died after being hurt in last Thursday's crash involving a tourist bus and a 70-year-old amphibious vehicle known as Duck Boat. The latest fatality was a 20-year-old woman who was an international student attending North Seattle College. All 5 people who died because of the accident were students at that school. The NTSB says a potentially dangerous failure point in the duck boat's axles was discovered in 2013, but the vehicle involved in last week's crash had not been fixed.
Residents in Charleston County, South Carolina are still cleaning up after a tornado touched down last Friday. The St. John's Fire District says 10 homes were seriously damaged, but there were no reports of injuries. The Red Cross is assisting the families that lost their homes.
Volkswagen has a new CEO it hopes that can turn the scandal-ridden automaker around. Porsche CEO Matthias Mueller was named to Volkswagen's post Friday. The move comes after U.S. officials found Volkswagen falsified pollution tests on 500,000 VW and Audi diesel cars. Volkswagen later admitted as many as 11 million vehicles worldwide may have manipulated emissions data. The company has lost a quarter of its market value because of the scandal. VW also faces more than 30 lawsuits, and U.S. regulators could impose billions of dollars in fines.
Turning to the box office, Hotel Transylvania 2 spooked the competition, taking the top spot on its opening weekend. According to estimates, the animated movie ranked in more than $47.5 million in ticket sales. In second place was The Intern, starring Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. Last weekend's box office champ, Maze Runner, The Scorched Trails, slid to the 3rd spot. And that's a look at your news to go. Charity can be a good reason to get out and run, but the people at CAIO offers another, more colorful reason with the annual Color Run.
Falcon Weekly's Hannah Risch is live in the newsroom with more. Hannah?
I'm here with Katie Watson. So thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
First question is, what exactly is the Color Run?
The Color Run? Okay, well, it's a 5K fun run, and our loop is around the sack, and so you run, and we throw like a powdered color on you, and it like tints your shirt, and it's a lot of fun. People can walk or run or skip or crawl or however they have to finish the 5K.
Well, what sort of charity is the run for, and how many people usually sign up for it?
Okay, well, Chi Omega Fraternity, we support the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and since our chapter is in the state of Alabama, we support the Alabama chapter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So we will be raising money to grant a child with a life-threatening disease in the state of Alabama. And in the past couple years, we've had around 200 runners, but this year we have around like 297 as of earlier today, so, and counting, so we're excited.
How much money are you expecting the run to make?
Well, my goal was to raise $10,000, but we're going to be a little bit shy of that. So I think we're going to raise around $7,000 or $8,000, which is great because that's the average cost of a wish in our state.
That's great. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Hannah. Remember, there's more news online 24/7. Just search for UN Falcon Weekly on Facebook and Twitter to see more stories and news updates throughout the week.
Coming up, people aren't the only ones standing in line for iPhone 6s. Find out why this robot was among the crowd.
And learn how you can protect yourself from scam artists who are targeting college students with loan collection phone calls.
And tails are wagging for a ride on this train. See how one man is making life a trip for these rescue canines. Those stories and more when Falcon Weekly returns.
Hey. Hey, could we please watch something else?
Well, what do you want to watch?
The Montevallo For You YouTube channel. Look at all those videos. You can watch it any time of the day from anywhere.
Cat videos are still better.
Preposterous!
From the release of the iPhone 6s to virtual reality video streaming, there's a lot to talk about in tech news.
Austin Gates joins us live for our tech update. Austin?
Thanks, guys. The top tech story this week is the new iPhone is here. The iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus hit stores Friday. The company says it sold 13 million in iPhone 6s and 6s Plus devices in just 3 days. That's a record for Apple. The new iPhone features a touch screen that senses how long and hard someone is pressing. They also have a strong aluminum body and higher resolution cameras. Customers around the world camped out in line to become some of the first owners of the new devices. The top video shows folks in China filling the Apple Store at the Causeway Bay to get their hands on the new smartphones. And in Sydney, Australia, lots of people lined up in the pouring rain to be the first to get their hands on the new iPhone. The first man in line bought 2 phones, and he says he is selling them both. But not everyone in line was a human. Some were robots holding space in line for people. One woman was in line in spirit but not in body. Brianna Lemprese used her Beam Pro remote presence device to hold her place in line in California as she waited to purchase the newly released iPhone 6s. The way you watch some videos online is about to change. Facebook has introduced a 360-degree videos to its newsfeed platform, letting users experience videos in every direction. The first batch of videos were for marketing material from the makers of Star Wars, Saturday Night Live, GoPro, and more. It works on a computer desktop by using your mouse to grab the screen and pan in any direction. On a smartphone, you're supposed to tilt the device to look around. Facebook says 360 videos works on an Android and expects to roll out the feature on iOS in the coming months. Netflix has entered the realm of virtual reality. Netflix became the first streaming media app to launch Oculus Virtual Reality App Store Thursday. That means you can now watch shows like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black on its VR headset. Other streaming services are expected to join Netflix. Oculus announced Hulu, Vimeo, Twitch, and TiVo will be available in the near future. Virtual reality is not just limited to entertainment television. News networks are testing the waters as well. Last week, CNN recorded its Republican presidential debate in virtual reality and made it available on demand. Next month, it plans to break new ground by live streaming the next primary debate in virtual reality. CNN says the October 13th Democratic debate in Las Vegas will be the first ever live stream of a news event in virtual reality. And with the help of a virtual reality headset, users can watch the debates from a perspective of an audience member. All they need is a Samsung Gear VR headset. They can hold a gaze on a particular candidate or catch off-screen interactions and more. Thousands of video gamers traveled to San Francisco Friday for a convention that's the first of its kind. As Jonathan Bloom explains, it's not enough just to play the game anymore. The cool kids are streaming their gameplay to an audience of adoring fans.
In the days when Tetris ruled the arcade, watching people play video games was what you did when you ran out of quarters.
Someone get the ball!
But now it's a serious form of entertainment thanks to a website called Twitch and a community of big personalities.
Like a glitch in the bloody Matrix, man. Whoa, dude.
The gamer known as Spamfish started broadcasting a year ago when he lost his job. Now he does this professionally.
Twitch has allowed me to do something I'm so passionate about and also make a career out of it.
There are thousands like him all over the world.
We had the idea, why don't we throw a convention? Why don't we bring everyone together in the same place? And it was kind of, haha, that's funny. And then wait, no, actually we should actually do this. And then we did.
Welcome to our very first TwitchCon.
It comes less than a year after San Francisco-based Twitch was acquired by Amazon, a move that makes perfect sense.
Amazon powers actually the back end through Amazon Web Services of the majority of video games that get produced today.
And those deep pockets come in handy.
They've definitely supported us in doing things like TwitchCon, which has been amazing.
This being the very first TwitchCon means it's also the first chance for a lot of Twitch broadcasters to meet some of their fans in person.
It's amazing. And I find that they're just as diverse and quirky and nerdy as I am, and I love it.
The man called Bacon Donut now has a production company around his Twitch channel, and here at TwitchCon, gamers can learn to broadcast like the pros with special effects and high-end sound. There are games of the future and blasts from the past, but the self-made celebrities of Twitch might just be the main attraction.
I don't feel like a rock star. I feel like a fat guy with a webcam that has no business with an audience.
And yet you have a large audience.
And yet I do.
That was Jonathan Bloom reporting. For this Tech Update, I'm Austin Gates.
Fall is officially here, which means several fruits and vegetables are coming into season. In today's Health Minute, reporter Shelby Lynn tells us some healthy fall foods you can add to your grocery list.
Pumpkins are among the fruits and vegetables now in season that the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics suggests you add to your shopping list. They are fiber-filled and are also high in vitamin A, which can help boost immunity in time for flu season, the group says. They suggest using pumpkin puree in muffins or bread. Spaghetti squash is also a tasty food to try. To prepare it, cut it in half, clean out the inside, bake it, and then scrape it with a fork to produce strands. These resemble spaghetti but are lower in calories than grain-based pasta. And although they are available year-round, pears are at their peak in the fall. This fruit comes in a variety of flavors and textures. If eaten with the peel, one medium pear contains fiber that is 1/5 of the daily recommendation. The leafy green kale is one of the nutrition group's fall produce picks. The group says kale can survive a snowstorm and can be dug out of the snow to enjoy in the middle of the winter. Kale is low in calories but high in vitamins, making it what they call a nutrient powerhouse. Also on the Academy's list, beets, sweet potatoes, okra, parsnips, and cranberries. For today's Health Minute, I'm Shelby Lynn.
A recent phone scam involving college students may affect you or someone you know. The FBI in Milwaukee, Wisconsin reports these scams are targeting students for thousands of dollars. Reporter Max Siegel has more.
On Friday afternoons on college campuses, most students are looking forward to the weekend. But right now, there's something to watch out for. Scammers on the phone looking for money.
I have loans, so I would be concerned about that if I got a call that talked about that, for sure.
The FBI's Milwaukee office is warning of a con that's targeted college students in Green Bay and Madison so far. Special Agent Robert Botch says the call might look legit.
They're spoofing the telephone number that they're calling from to make it appear that the telephone call is coming from the local FBI office.
Here's how it works. The caller claims to be with the U.S. government, threatening to arrest a student if they don't pay up on things like student loans, delinquent taxes, and overdue parking tickets.
The FBI nor any other federal law enforcement agency is going to call somebody up and demand payment over the telephone. It's just, quite frankly, it's not going to happen.
He says about 15 students have received the call so far, but nobody's turned over any money.
And I'll probably pass it on to my friends because I know a lot of them do have student debt and student loans right now, so I want to make sure they're aware of that too.
Students like Katie Herdman are taking this seriously.
The FBI says students can receive their phone calls to their cell phones and even their landlines. The best option for victims of this scam is to hang up immediately and call authorities.
Now it's time for the buzz.
We're joined again by Austin and Buzz anchor Kiera Hood. What have you got for us, Kiera?
Thanks, Matt. Today on Falcon Weekly, we're buzzing about the blood moon, and a couple of selfies are getting some people in trouble. And dog trains are really a thing. People around the world gathered outside their homes last night to witness the rare blood moon. This lunar eclipse was the last in a series of 4 spanning 2 years, a phenomenon called a tetrad. According to research, the last supermoon total lunar eclipse occurred 33 years ago. Did you guys get a chance to witness the blood moon?
Well, I tried. It was very cloudy.
Yeah, it
so
was extremely cloudy, but I thought it looked awesome. I thought it looked great, and it was something that won't happen again for
33 years.
For another 33 years.
Yeah, I
so.
saw several cool pictures online. I couldn't see it at the beginning of the eclipse, but it cleared up a little bit later.
Yeah.
You got to see through some of the cracks of the clouds, but
I saw some good
It was
Facebook
awesome. It was
photos.
unique.
Yeah, thank goodness for social media because I didn't get a chance to
Yeah,
see
I
it. And I
know.
walked
I know.
outside and nothing but clouds.
I don't know.
All right, a Florida woman was arrested on Saturday night. She was accused of sitting or riding on the back of a sea turtle. Stephanie Marie Moore had been wanted since July on a felony warrant for offenses related to marine turtles. The charges came after Snapchat photos appearing to show her on the animal's back went viral. Police say Moore and another woman took the photos on Melbourne Beach. Her bond has been set at $2,000. What do you guys think about that? Think it's a little extreme?
They don't mess around with their sea turtles.
Yeah, I mean that's
I wouldn't
crazy.
say it's extreme. I'd say it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they got signs on the beaches.
Yeah, they're
don't
pretty
mess
clear
with sea
about it.
turtles.
You got to be respectful. You got to be respectful.
Poor turtle.
Oh. PETA is suing a photographer on behalf of a monkey. It says the animal actually owns the rights to a selfie. A crested macaque snapped this picture when photographer David Slater left his camera unattended in Indonesia. PETA wants Slater to give Naturo, the monkey, all the money he's made from selling the photo. The photographer says PETA's lawsuit is ridiculous. Well, my question would be, what is the monkey gonna do with money?
I think this whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think it's
mean,
ridiculous.
The concept of
It is.
suing somebody over a selfie that a monkey took.
It's a good selfie,
I mean, look at
though.
that
Oh, it is.
Selfie.
It's a good selfie.
picture.
Look at it.
It is a good picture.
Yeah, he's cheesing.
Maybe he'll use it to buy another camera.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
A Texas retiree is getting noticed around town and the country for his dog train. Eugene Bostic and his brother welded together plastic barrels with holes cut in them and added wheels. At least once a week, he drives the dogs to a creek in the woods near his home. Most of the dogs were abandoned on his dead-end street. About 15 years ago, he started taking them in, feeding them, and getting them fixed. Well, that's amazing to me.
I think it's adorable.
It's so nice.
It's adorable.
Those
I love
dogs
it.
are so cute, yeah.
I'm a dog guy, so
I would
mean,
love to go
oh,
hang
yeah,
out with the dog
absolutely.
train.
I'm a dog lover, but I can
I
only
wish I had a seat.
imagine what he spends on dog food.
Oh my goodness.
There's no
Like,
telling. There's no
I would
telling.
love to make
That's a
one of
lot of
those.
dogs in that little train.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Matt. That's all we have for the buzz.
Now it's time for a check at our Montevallo forecast.
Falcon Weekly's Haley Sugg joins
Courtney
us
and
live
Matt.
from
As you
outside
can
the
see
Mass
behind me-
Communication Building with a look at this week's weather.
Thanks, Courtney and Matt. As you can see behind me, we're having a gloomy day in Montevallo with rain showers on and off. In the upcoming overnight forecast, we're having possible rain and thunderstorms and lows hovering around the 70s. The storms will continue on into Tuesday and the rest of the weekdays being cloudy. It'll certainly feel like fall in the upcoming week though, with highs hovering in the mid-70s and lows in the mid-50s. Once the clouds clear up though, we'll have a sunny weekend that can be enjoyed outdoors. That's your weekly forecast.
Coming up, find out which former Montevallo soccer player is preparing for the 2016 Olympics with Canada's national team.
And in their inaugural season, the women's lacrosse team can hang with the big dogs. Find out which schools Montevallo scrimmaged against this past weekend. Sports is next.
You want to feel connected, informed, included on every screen in your life. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Text Washington. Tell them local stations matter.
Welcome back to Falcon Weekly. I'm Elizabeth Reinhart with a look at this week's sports.
In an unofficial scrimmage at home, the inaugural women's lacrosse team beat Huntington College but lost to Alabama and Samford. Check out MontevalloFalcons.com for updates about the team's first season. A strong performance by the women's golf team at the Bearcat Invitational over the weekend earned them 4th place out of 14 teams. 3 Falcons placed in the top 20. The volleyball team split 2 away games on Saturday. After sweeping Coker College in 3 sets, the Falcons later fell to Carson Newman after 4 hard-fought sets. The team will return to the court on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday in Montevallo. The men's and women's soccer team had a rough weekend. The men lost at Francis Marion 2-0, and the women lost to Armstrong State 4-0. Former Montevallo player Giuliano Frano has been called up to Canada's under-23 national team for preparation for the 2016 Olympics. Frano currently plays for the Seattle Sounders Football Club too. In SEC football news, Alabama bounced back from a tough loss last weekend and shut out Louisiana Monroe 34-0 in Tuscaloosa, ranking the Tide 13th in the AP poll. After a promising preseason, Auburn continues to disappoint after losing to Mississippi State at home 17-9. As of this week, the Tigers have dropped out of every college football poll. In Athens, Southern University suffered a huge loss against Georgia. Wide receiver Devin Gales ruptured his spinal cord and fractured several parts of his neck after an attempted tackle. The University of Georgia paid for transportation to the hospital for the family. Gales is paralyzed from the waist down. In pro boxing news, American heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder extended his undefeated record to 35 after beating Johann Duhaupas in Birmingham Saturday night. The Tuscaloosa native connected 56% of his punches. Wilder's next opponent could be former titleist Alexander Povetkin of Russia if Povetkin's status allows him to fight. And that's a look at this week's sports.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Finally this week, a funny exchange with a young singer and actor Mark Wahlberg asking for the Pope's forgiveness. After a stunning performance for the Pope at last week's Festival of Families in Philadelphia, Bobby Hill from the Keystone State Boys and Girls Choir surprised MC Mark Wahlberg.
He'll recognize Wahlberg from his role in a not-so-saintly movie.
That right there was truly the voice of an angel. But then he whispered in my ear that he loved the movie Ted. And I told him that was not appropriate for a boy of his age. Holy Father, please forgive me.
How embarrassing.
I know, that's crazy.
Having to apologize to the Pope.
And like everybody was laughing except the Pope. And it was just, it was one of those moments.
He handled it okay though.
He did.
Considering.
No, he handled it well, considering, for sure.
I bet that kid's parents were embarrassed.
Oh, I bet. That's all the time we have for this week's show. Thank you so much for joining us.
For more UM news and MassComm student reporters, be sure to check out the Falcon News Network blog. The web address is on your screen. We'll see you again next week.